Great. Anyone have questions out there? Go ahead.
I have one two-part question for both of them. It's really similar.
Okay.
Scott, right?
Could you repeat it as well?
Yeah, I will.
In your, it doesn't seem like it was brief, but in your time in the Bible, the first part of my question is, what do you believe the intentions of the Bible to be as a book? What do you think that its purpose is? And the second part of that question is, in your time in the Bible, do you feel like it fulfills that?
I'll have to come back to the second part of that.
Let me
just make sure I understand it.
Let's just repeat that question. You're asking what Scott believes the intention of the Bible to be as a book, and did it fulfill that intention? Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Or does he believe that it does, or not like did it?
Right.
Or do you believe that it fulfilled it?
I think that it would. That is similar to saying what was the purpose of religion, because I think that those two kind of stemmed off of each other, and I think that the purpose of the Bible, especially considering the Pentateuch, was to. It was, I think, the first monotheistic text, and I think that it had to do with power. It had to do with controlling a nation of people who otherwise would not necessarily have it. It's sort of a constitution, if you will. But I think it was also a way for them to identify themselves as a people, the Hebrews. And I think that the purpose behind the Bible in its entirety is to supplement and also to create religion, which a lot of people need and a lot of people want, which is fine. I think that in that way it does fulfill that role. I think that it was very effective in controlling very large populations of people and annihilating very large populations of people, and it was also very effective in establishing kind of a moral governance for people who, there really wasn't probably a lot of law enforcement, and they carried this book with a knife in it, and that was how they did that. So that was it was probably effective in that way. It probably helped to shape their society, and it definitely helped to build religions. So does that fill that question pretty well?
Yeah.
Okay.
Can I give a quick response?
Go ahead.
I would say that that brings up kind of the point. I'm glad that question was asked, because I think it brings up basically the point of what I'm getting at tonight. I think the fundamental purpose of the Bible is to provide a history of the work of redemption of God, redeeming a people who has sinned from the beginning, as we saw in Adam and in Eve, and how He redeems them throughout time, and consequently what their salvation will be like in the future. And if I would like to say that if that's the Bible's purpose, it's my understanding that it is. Obviously, my friend Scott here has a completely different understanding. But if that's its purpose, I think it completes it very well. And instead of providing an exact number on the amount of years that somebody had lived before they became king or what have you, it accomplishes its purpose of relating God's history of the work of redemption very, very effectively. And so, yeah, that's just my response.
You had another question?
That was going to be my question to you as well, is what do you believe the purpose of the intention of the Bible to be? And because of what the stance that you hold, I wanted to ask you the second, a different question is, instead of do you think the Bible fulfills that purpose well, as a Christian, do you feel like you fulfill that purpose of the Bible in your own life?
Okay.
You want to repeat the question?
Yeah. Yes. You want Peter or me?
You. Go ahead.
Okay. The question was the same first part question that I just answered as far as Scott goes, but then the second part was if I feel that I fulfill the purpose of the Bible in my own life. And so as far as the history of God's work of redemption goes, I think that we're in that time now. God is still redeeming people, and He will redeem people all the way up until the point when Jesus returns at His second coming. And so I think that my position in that is to go out, and the Bible has many commands to Christians, but I think one of the primary ones is to go out and to make disciples of all nations and to preach the gospel to every creature, and to command all men everywhere to repent, etc., etc. And so I think as far as that goes, that I seek to fulfill that in my life very much, and I feel like I am fulfilling it. Yes, I might stumble in that area and fall in that area, not being maybe as aggressive in evangelism and stuff as I ought to, but as far as living that out, and again, I lead CCN, which is an evangelistically focused organization on campus, and we study apologetics and stuff like that. I even got back today from, we spent some time sharing our faith downtown. So, I believe that I do try to live that out to the best of my ability.